Hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Path to Freedom podcast. Today, I'm joined by Roland Ligtenberg, who is the co-founder of Housecall Pro. Roland, what's up, man? Welcome.
Hey, Wes. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you making time to do this. You were just telling me you're at a big summit or a conference, and kind of taking time to jump on here and record a podcast with me in between talks and things like that. So I know you're busy, and I appreciate it, but I've been looking forward to talking to you because I've actually got some experience with your company, your software, Housecall Pro, and one of the franchises that my wife and I owned. It's a great software, and I won't steal too much of your thunder. I'll let you kind of tell the audience what Housecall Pro is and how your clients use it. But thought it would be a cool topic for us to tackle here on the podcast today.
Yeah, I think especially given your audience, this is a perfect fit. At Housecall Pro, our mission is to champion our pros to success. And what we do is we do that primarily via software. We all have other solutions as well. And so in our software, we just streamline a lot of the day-to-day business operations, logistics, talking to customers, keeping track of technicians, payroll, accounting, coaching, websites. I mean, there's just so much we do, but the core is if you're a home service business, we want to make sure that you're doing what you do best, which is face-to-face interactions with customers and solving problems, whatever your trade is. And if we can maximize those two things, we know our pros win. And on average, they grow 30% year over year with us. So if they kind of follow those things, our business model is simple. You pay us a monthly bill. We offer credit card processing. When you grow, we grow. When we grow, you grow. And, it's a really great partnership that we have with all of our customers.
Yeah. Well, hey, 30% year over year is hard to beat. And so how did you guys get into this business? Because you're one of the co-founders. Where did the idea come from? Where did you kind of identify that there was a need in the market for these types of home service professionals for this type of software?
Yeah, that's a great question. So 12 years ago now, almost 13, geez, time flies. We were working at a big tech company called Qualcomm, and we thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could click a button and a handyman could show up, click a button, a plumber could show up. And this was Uber was pretty new, and Uber was just taking off, and so we're like, oh, we got to build that. And as we're building that, we're like, wait a minute, none of these pros have like a mobile app that they can use to run their business. This is back in 2013. So this is like, I don't know if you guys remember, but it's probably like iPhone 4, or something where it was like the funny plastic colored. They had like light blue, light green, light pink phones and all this kind of stuff.
I have to admit, I had the light blue one for a minute.
Yeah, there we go. So that was the time. And so we're like, all right, we're going to build software for our pros. And, ever since 2015, we launched it, it just kind of took off. And so we've been just at it ever since. And every single time when we get requests from our customers, hey, wouldn't it be cool if, you could integrate and do online booking with Google? Yeah, sure. Now you can book directly from Google into your Housecall Pro account. And as more and more people wanting to do stuff like that, and not pick up the phone and call, let them book, And so we know that if we just give our pros better tools, they're going to grow their business and we're going to grow. And but we started from just a different kind of idea with a small little pivot. And then we just identify this opportunity where there just was nothing. There's nobody doing this. At least not anybody doing it well. It's all web-based. Yeah. So we started mobile first, mobile only.
Well, and it really is, from my personal experience working with it, it's a one-stop shop for the most part in terms of, what any of these home service businesses need from kind of a tech standpoint to run the day-to-day operations of the business. And, I think that's something that's overwhelming for a lot of business owners is trying to figure that out, because you said this earlier, part of your mission is to let your clients, your pros, do what they do best, which is whatever the services that they provide. They're probably, most of them not, the most tech savvy people. And, there's a lot of different options out there today where you could kind of piecemeal together everything that Housecall Pro does. But, you're talking a huge investment of time just to figure out, what
things are going to break, things are going to break, things are not being used for their intended purpose. Then you're going to run into another thing. It's just like, focus on your business, focus on what you do best and specialize. And, let a software company like Housecall Pro just help you with the rest.
We'll get right back to the episode in just a minute, but if you've been considering business ownership, if you're already a business owner looking to expand and you're curious about franchising, I'd love to connect with you, answer any initial questions that you have, talk about a specific franchise, and detail the exact process that I use and have taken hundreds of people through to help them understand franchise ownership, find the right franchise for them, and conduct the necessary due diligence. Click the link in the show notes if you'd like to schedule a free, no obligation strategy call. I look forward to talking with you. And now back to the episode. Yeah. So what made you guys land on home services? And you said the idea was kind of click a button and have a handyman or a plumber show up. But, did you have prior experience, in kind of the trades type businesses? Is that where you saw the need, or where did the idea to focus specifically on the service businesses come from?
Yeah, I mean, the focus came because, as we were trying to get handymen and plumbers to onboard to our platform, we would ask them like, hey, when we send you a job, what do you do with it? How do you do it? We got this yellow triplicate, and then we use square dongle. Back then it was like you had to connect the thing into the speaker port. And you swipe it, but I just do check and cash. And then it was like, oh my gosh, if they click a button, like there's no way. And so, back then, if you guys are familiar with Uber, there's a homeowner or a consumer side, and there's the driver side. And so we had the homeowner side and then the pro side, but pros didn't have anything. And they're like, hey, can we add our own jobs to this thing? Or like, yeah, sure. Like, and can we run credit cards through your thing too? That's pretty cool. Homeowners seem to like to pay by credit card. It's like, no, yeah, but yeah, use it, and so it just grew kind of organically from there into the home services space. But personally, do I have a background in home services? No. I mean, I painted homes in college to try to graduate debt free. So, I'd go knock doors during the normal school semester, and then I go paint homes in the summer. But am I really home services? No. I grew up doing all kinds of random stuff. But this is just a great opportunity. Blue ocean, blue collar, hard work. Just no one served, our pros, and we just stepped in. We saw a hole, we saw a void.
We'll get right back to the episode, but I wanted to quickly share a free resource with you. If you're curious about franchise ownership and want to learn more about how countless people, including myself, have leveraged franchising as a way to create more freedom for themselves and to take control of their livelihood, I've put together an ebook. It's called Franchise Wealth Creation, and it's the perfect starting point for anyone that's just curious to learn more about this whole franchise thing and how I've helped hundreds of other people navigate all the steps involved in understanding and researching franchising. So click the link in the show notes, fill out a short form. I'll send you the ebook. I think it's a great starting point if you're curious at all about learning more about franchising. All right, let's get back to the episode. And it sounds like you guys have done a lot of innovating over the years in terms of what the software, the product offers. Like I remember, so we became Koala Installation franchisees at the end of 2020. They were working with you guys already, so we got onboarded, using Housecall Pro. That's how we got trained, to run our schedule, to do our quotes, our invoicing, route management for our technicians and installers.
Yep.
And then we sold that business at the end of 2023. So we owned it for about 3 years. Had good success with it. We're able to sell it to some neighboring franchisees that were looking to expand. We'd had 2 more kids since we had actually started the business. So things had changed on personally for us. Anyways, but I mean, Housecall Pro was where we did everything in that business, in terms of the operations, customer interfacing, all of it. We processed our payments through Housecall Pro. But I remember you guys, when we first started using it, the one piece that wasn't quite there that we needed was like a CRM type piece. But then you guys rolled out, essentially like a CRM or a pipeline kind of component to it, to where we could then kind of manage all of that still within Housecall Pro, where we could keep track with, different builders and contractors that would send us referrals, and, we could keep track of outstanding quotes that we had that, we were wanting to get, do some follow up with the customer on. So, That was huge. But another example of where, I assume you listen, right, to the customers, and they said, hey man, it'd be really nice if you could incorporate a CRM into this, and you were able to roll it out.
That's right. Yeah. So one of the big things that we do that's unique about Housecall Pro is we have a very vibrant community. It's one of our Facebook groups. We have a couple of Facebook groups. We have our Housecall Pros groups, our Super Pro group, and our Lady Pro group. But in our Housecall Pros group, all of our pros can talk together. They can share ideas, and oftentimes what they'll do will be like, "Yeah, I wish Housecall Pro could do X," or "This thing's broken. I wish it could do this," or And so we take all those things, and they're called pro votes, and we let our pros cast a vote. And those things, and you can see them. We've got a site where you can vote them up or down, kind of like Reddit, if you're familiar with like a Reddit style thing. You can vote it up, and we take all those things into consideration when we're building out our roadmap. And so one of the things was, hey, I'd like to keep track of all my leads. So we built a job inbox where all your leads can come into, and you can communicate with them directly in Housecall Pro. And pipeline is like a Kanban board where you can put in leads, and you can have different statuses as well. You can do like super cold, warm lead, hot lead, referral lead, or whatever. And then you can also do other statuses like waiting on parts, waiting on delivery, COD, and so you can move things from left to right. It's like walking into any home service business and you see the big whiteboard and you see, things moving from left to right. And so we built that, and we built a bunch of automation in between. So if you want to say, hey, if I gave an estimate, and it's been 3 days, send a text saying, hey, Wes, did you get a chance to check out the estimate? Do you have any questions? We're here to help. And if you still don't reply, you can do an email later and be like, hey, Wes, just so you know, we're going to be in your area next week. We can give you a 5% discount if you approve it right now. So those things are all, as an entrepreneur, the more you can automate, especially if they're high value tasks, but they're not high difficulty. So imagine if you had 1,000 interns, what'd you have them do? Those style tasks, like, do it inside of Housecall Pro. It's
yeah. It's a super, super valuable tool. So, my kind of area of focus is franchising, right? The business that we owned where we used Housecall Pro was a franchise. We were franchisees. How much of your business, just, roughly, like, are you guys working with quite a few franchise companies in the home service, or is it mostly, smaller independent companies that make up your client base?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think more and more we're working with franchises. And so just like in general, there's two style. There's kind of established franchises that have, 100 plus locations already, very established, very built out kind of style franchises. And then you have a lot of our pros, they grew to a stage where they're like, hey, look, I want to go multi-city, multi-state. And they will go franchise their business. And then because they're using Housecall Pro, they essentially have the template, the blueprint to go establish a franchise business. And some do it formally, some do it informally. There's different ways. But inside Housecall Pro, you've got an ability to set up, these parent-child levels or a grandparent-parent-child, right? So you can have like a franchisor with the franchisees, and you can kind of oversee all of the accounts, or you can have a central call center that you share across 4 different locations. So you split the cost of your CSRs across 4 locales. So there's all kinds of really cool stuff that we built inside Housecall Pro to support the franchise style business, but also any style business, right? Any home service business.
Well, it's so to your point, there's definitely different franchises in different stages, right? From, the mature, very mature established brands to more emerging brands. And then like, I kind of see one of two things on the software side, with most of these brands. Some brands build out their own custom proprietary software, business management platform. But I think more and more these days, especially of the emerging franchises, because there are such good tools out there like Housecall Pro, they're saying, hey, why would we spend years and years and millions of dollars to build out our own software? There's tools like Housecall Pro available.
Yeah, it's one of those business decisions. You got to focus on what you do best. And like franchises are not good software builders. right? They're
No.
good systems builders. They're good
Yeah.
SOP builders. They're good business builders.
Yeah.
But, sure, could they go build something custom inside Salesforce? Then you got to have a team of Salesforce admins and people. Okay, so like 2, 3, 4 people. You're looking at $500,000 to $1 million a year budget. That doesn't even include like just the building out of it. So you're looking at millions of dollars, right? And then you're like, at Housecall Pro, this is what we do. Hundreds of millions of dollars go into this, and so it's like, are you really going to try to compete in something that's not a core part of your business?
Yeah.
But the other question is like, is your business process so unique and so proprietary you have to build everything out custom? The answer is probably no. And even if it is yes, with Housecall Pro, we have what's called our open API. So with an open API, for those who are like, what the hell is an API? It's a way that other cloud softwares can talk to one another. And because it's open, we allow data to go in and out of Housecall Pro. So if you do have something kind of proprietary, like I want them to use this intake form because it's my secret sauce to my franchise. Okay, cool. You can do that. And then once that's submitted or entered, boom, you can pipe all the information directly in Housecall Pro. You can manage the dispatching, customer communication, like all the other pieces of it. So with an open API, there really is no need because you can build whatever you want to on top of Housecall Pro as your backbone, knowing that the backbone is, a massive multi-billion-dollar company spending hundreds of millions of dollars, to develop the thing. Like you don't have to go do that. Don't reinvent the wheel. Like focus on this cool process that you have, or your killer sales training scripts or videos, or whatever the product is that your franchisees are required to install. Right? Like focus on those aspects. I think it fits for any entrepreneur. Is like, what are you really good at? What can you do that you would do in your sleep or that you would do for fun that others think is work?
Yeah.
Focus on that stuff because that's your competitive advantage.
Man, but it's spot on. So kind of a tangent, but it ties into everything you just said. Like as I am coaching people through this process of evaluating different franchise opportunities and doing the research that they need to do to really figure out hey, is this a business that I can see myself investing in and being successful and thriving in? Is it going to help me accomplish my goals and line up with the type of lifestyle that I'm looking to create? Most people tend to first and foremost look at whatever the widget is, right? Whatever the product or the service of the business is. And what I've learned over the years is, that's not the best approach. The best approach is what you just described. Like, hey, let's figure out, like, in a perfect world, what would you as a business owner spend the vast majority of your time doing, right? What are the things that get you the most excited? What are the things that are your biggest strengths, your biggest skill set? And I'm sure you've seen this with all the different companies that you work with. The role of the owner can look very different from one type of business to the next, at least, how the business owner should be spending the majority of their time. So once we have a good idea of what that looks like, then it's a lot easier to, bring franchise companies to the table that line up exactly with, that kind of ideal role or profile for someone as a business owner. But back to kind of your ability to customize Housecall Pro, because that's something I was going to ask you about. But now that you kind of explained the open API, I think it makes sense because when we started with Koala installation, it was just Housecall Pro. That was the only software that we used at all. By the time we sold it, Koala had built out their own kind of custom franchisee portal, right? So we could go in and there were a variety of things, one of which was a dashboard where we could see all different metrics, financial performance, things of that nature, but you got to kind of see where you ranked up compared to the other franchisees. So I imagine in order to get that data, it's pulling all of that from Housecall Pro because, I could go into my Housecall Pro account and see, all of my different revenue reports and metrics and stuff. So it was pulling that from all the franchisees and then giving us a dashboard where it kind of stack ranked us, which was really valuable insight to have.
Yeah, for sure. And look, like if you're a franchisor and you're looking to build out these style like competition leaderboards, by geo, by state, by division, by type, whatever it is, you can do that. And so Housecall Pro's got the tools to allow you to customize that stuff because, we can't go build those tools for each individual franchise. The opportunities aren't unfortunately large enough for us to spend a bunch of custom dev resources. But that's why we open API because any
Yeah.
franchise to just go hire a couple of custom devs and, build out this cool thing like you're describing, which makes total sense.
Yeah. Which to me is the best of both worlds, right? Where, to your point, a franchise company can come in and not spend years and millions of dollars creating the software, but then over time they can, add to it or customize it to the specific needs of their brand and their franchisees. The other franchise my wife and I own, we bought into this franchise back in like 2016. Franchise has been around since 2007. It's another home service business, but they have a proprietary software that the founder created. And I'm not even talking like, worked with Salesforce to custom. I mean, like built it from scratch. Like I don't know anything about tech and coding, but like built it from scratch to the point where, now this franchise has been acquired. The original founder's not in the picture any longer. And the guy that did most of the coding died. And there's only like 2 or 3 people in the world that even have a clue how to like go in and work on this software that was created. And look, it's a great tool for our business because it was designed specifically for this business. But I agree with you. The vast majority of businesses are not going to require such a unique approach that, something like a Housecall Pro, especially with the ability to add to it and customize a bit, isn't going to work. And, so from a user-friendly standpoint, this proprietary software is not great. Like I said, it's a great tool. It does all the things we need it to do and then some, but it's not super user-friendly, especially compared to something like a Housecall Pro. It freaking takes forever anytime they want to update something or add something. And, I think part of that is because, like I said, there's just, for whatever reason, very few people that know how to do anything with this particular piece of software. But my point is, like, we're a lot less nimble in that franchise in terms of our software capabilities and abilities, and especially in a day and age like this where things are just evolving so fast, So I imagine all the innovation that you guys have had up to this point at Housecall Pro, like you guys are 2 years from now, you'll have a whole nother menu of options that your clients will have access to. You'll just continue to innovate.
Yeah. I mean, like, you can call in, this is our CSRAI. Let's see here. This is.
Hello, thank you for calling ABC Company. This call will be recorded and monitored. I'm the AI assistant and I'm here to help. How can I assist you today?
Yeah, I've got an electrical problem. It's urgent. Can you get someone out?
I understand that it's urgent. Before we proceed, can I have your full name, please?
Yeah, it's Roland Ligtenberg.
Thank you, Roland. Could you please provide your address, including the zip code?
So, like that's kind of like AI stuff where your phone can be on your business 24/7. You're capturing 100% of the lead. You're getting all the intake. You're getting all the information you need up front. If you want to kick it out to a real human, you can, right? But like you're saving yourself so much time. And these are like these kind of innovations, that with Housecall Pro, you can just boom, turn on a switch and your calls are answered. You don't have to worry about it. So if you're a business owner and you're trying to grow, and you're under the house, you're in the attic, whatever you're doing, right? Like you can really quickly just get extra help. And I think that's where AI is headed. I think home services is unique because it's a standing job versus things that I do is like a sitting job.
Right.
Sitting jobs, they're at risk. Let's be real. Standing jobs, not at risk. But guess what I was doing? I was calling a home service business. That person that normally would be answering the phone, probably sitting, unless it was the person that was standing, but it's taking away from the standing. So like automate that, throw AI at that problem, get back to work, And so that's where you're adding a lot of value to the business versus, answering the phone at 2 a.m. at night. Probably not doing it.
No.
For $1 a minute, why not?
I was going to ask, how you guys were incorporating AI and kind of where you see that going. So like with that particular, the CSR, is that AI that you guys created, or have you partnered with another AI company and kind of just looped that into Housecall Pro?
Yeah, no, we this is all built inside of Housecall Pro. So
Okay.
this is built on top of our own LLMs and things like that. So it's not some other thing that's white labeled or rebranded. It's our piece of tech. But more importantly, because Housecall Pro, our database, 100 million plus jobs, 1 in 4 homes, tens of billions of dollars to the system, probably hundreds of billions at this point. Like all these data points is what makes AI really powerful for Housecall Pro, because you have so much knowledge. Like imagine, the Matrix, Neo is like, oh, you want to fly a helicopter? It's like, zzz, all right, no, I have a helicopter, right? But like, you got like this big book of training and all this stuff and knowledge. Or like, but imagine like you use Housecall Pro, you get the big book of everything, like of everything, of hundreds of billions of knowledge. So all of a sudden, like, man, why is the CSR so smart? Well, because it's not just answering your phones, it's answering everyone's phones, but it's custom built for yours with all the knowledge. And so I think, whether it's that, we have our analyst AI that can be like, hey, how much commission do I have to pay Wes for all the insulation that he sold in the month of January? Boom, we'll spit out an answer. Normally, you have to like download the data, go to a spreadsheet, run a sum of a column, the percentage, boom, and you have to do that every single 2 weeks for payroll, right? Like, but like, why? You don't need to do that. That's a sitting down job. So with Housecall Pro, it's just like, okay, what can we do to take those sitting down jobs off of our pros plates so they can get back to doing the standing stuff, meeting with customers, that FaceTime with customers, the interactions, the troubleshooting. Like that's difficult. You got to be creative. You got to be able to like, you walk in and all of a sudden it's just this crazy, like, I don't know how they did the drop ceiling and the contractor did some crazy, and all of a sudden you got to like calculate some weird way to spray different foam in different places. Like that's, it's creative. Like you're not just going to get AI up there to go do that. Right. Yeah. Not at least in the next,
not yet. We're
30
not there
years. Yeah. We don't have Elon Musk's little robots running around yet.
Maybe one day, but we're not quite there yet. Yeah. I like how you distinguish between the sitting jobs and the standing jobs, and, use technology to your advantage, and eliminate some of these tasks that need to happen on a regular basis in your business. It's not that they're necessarily low value tasks, but they're just time consuming, repetitive things that, now, especially with AI, there's a solution for it. And, look, my wife and I joke about it all the time. We're like, man, if it weren't for customers and employees, this business ownership thing would be pretty damn easy. So anything where, maybe you have 1 or 2 less employees that you have to go and hire the right person and train them and then worry about replacing them if they quit or you have to let them go. Like not a terrible thing in most business owners' eyes, if we're being blunt.
Totally. Yeah, no, I agree. So I don't know, keep an eye on that. If you're not using AI in your home service business, you can buy some AI things off the shelf. And there's some really cool things that you can do with smaller company AI products because it's built on just the general human knowledge that was scraped across the internet effectively. But then if you want something that's home service specific, that's a unique data set that doesn't exist anywhere. And so that's where if you're deciding, well, what company should I use? What field service manager? You're like, oh, this price is lower than here. Or like, it's a smaller company. They're going to listen to me more. It's like, think long-term. Like, how can you leverage all the data within the AI to just like take stuff off your plate? Like the accounting, we have accounting AI, we have marketing AI, we have coach AI. So like all these different types of things, like that's all knowledge work. Take that off your plate. Take that off your plate. That's the stuff most pros, and they're like, oh man, Roland, I can't wait to get off the truck and just write invoices after dinner. I've never heard that before. No bros ever told me that. They've never told me that.
So what are some other tactical ways that your home service clients are using some of the AI tools that you've created and now made available to them in the day-to-day? Like you mentioned marketing, like what are some other examples, like the phone answering, responding to leads? That's a no-brainer, right? Like that makes all the sense in the world to me to have AI handling as much of it as possible. What are some of the other no-brainers?
I mean, look, it's no secret. Most of our plumbers or HVAC or carpet cleaners, they're not Shakespeare. And so when it comes to writing like marketing copy, like don't have them try to write it. Like our AI knows everything it knows to know about your business. It knows your availability, the seasonality, all the things. Just click a button and have it write it for me. And I'm not saying you have to use everything it spits out and be like, that's what you have to use. Use that as a starting point. Get through that writer's block. Make a couple changes, change some words here and there. Look, you're still in control. You are still the puppet master, at least for now, right? And so while that's the case, use this AI to just kind of give you that head start, do the work mostly for you, and just trim it up a little bit. And so,
that's what you can make it your own too, right? And put it in the tone of your company or yourself as an individual. And that way, everyone's not, every plumbing company's not running the exact same copy. But yeah, I mean, like when I started doing that in my consulting business, it was the writer's block, right? Like I would have, a newsletter article or even a podcast that I knew I wanted to do, knew what the topic was. It was just that starting point, right? Well, yeah, throw it into, in my case, like Chat GPT or something, and let it see what it spits out. And that's going to probably at least get you started, right? And then you refine it from there.
Right. Yep.
So what else? You got accounting AI, right? So there's talk to me a little bit more about what that looks like.
Yeah, that's still really new, but essentially getting accurate numbers so you can close your month so you know what to operate on in the next month. That reconciling those things, understanding what transactions fall in what categories. I mean, that's typically for bookkeepers, and then but remember, you got to like train the bookkeeper normally. You'd be like, oh no, that was kind of expenses. My Starbucks, that's for employee incentivization and rewards.
Yeah.
It's not eating out. It's like, you got to train at some of those things. And so, so that's an interesting one. I would say like for us, Coach AI is great because, we have Housecall Pro business coaching. And from there, we take all the transcripts, all the one-on-ones, all of the conversations. We take all of that and put that into the brain of Coach AI. And then we give it all the knowledge of your business. What are your business goals? What is your revenue? How many employees do you have? And now all of a sudden you get custom coaching just for your business. So I see a lot of pros ask for like, hey, I need some more work. What other marketing channels do you recommend that I haven't tried yet? Boom, wow. Here's 3 more ideas. Okay, let's go do that. Right. And it's things like that where it's like, people say AI isn't creative. I would say, I don't know. It's halfway there. It's kind of not creative, but it's creative enough. And if it knows your business, it's going to give you a bunch of ideas.
I think a lot of it has to do with how creative you can get with the prompting. And if you can, because to me, and I'm so far from, an AI expert, but it's something I realize I'm kind of behind the curve on it, right? So like I'm really on a mission to like get myself educated and up to speed. But it seems like there's kind of an art to asking the right prompts and, refining the prompts. If you just go in with something very generic where you haven't put a whole lot of thought into the question that you're asking and ultimately what the goal is that you're trying to accomplish, you're probably not going to get anything that's all that creative. But if you're really asking the right questions and then refining the questions and asking them to expand or change this, I think you can get some very creative, responses from most of the AIs.
Absolutely. What other questions do you think your audience has, or like, what do you think would be helpful that I can cover here in the last couple minutes?
Yeah, man, I think this has been really good. Obviously you guys are specific to home services, right? Is there any home service company out there that wouldn't be a good fit for Housecall Pro as a customer?
Sure.
Is there anyone this wouldn't make sense for?
Yeah. So our ideal customer profile, so if you're an entrepreneur, you're ICP, like who do we really target? We go after companies that are between $0 and $10 million a year.
Okay.
That's the goal. And we aim to be super affordable. So if you look at any other competitors in the space, we're going to comp far below any of the enterprise grade kind of solutions, and then offer 95% of what they do. And the other 5% is, it's valuable for companies that are 20, 30, $50 million because they can justify the cost, right? To get that extra little bit of customization, bells and whistles. But you don't need a Lamborghini to drive their grocery store, right? Like there's no need to do that.
Yeah.
And so for us, we give that F-150 or that Sprinter, or that box truck, whatever it is that you need, that's affordable, that gets the job done, it's got all the things, but still is innovating. And so for us, if you're a home service business, whether it's HVAC, plumbing, electrical, carpet cleaning, septic, we've got all kinds of different businesses. We even have like equine massage, or mobile barbers. Really, we focus more on the home service and repair. But any of those companies, Housecall Pros can be an amazing fit. Say if you're bigger than 10 million, we have a bunch of those as well. We have hundreds of those, and it's still a great fit. We just don't go after that. It still works. Still very affordable.
Companies that big have, I'm sure to some extent different needs than companies doing under 10 million. They probably have other, options that are worth them.
Yeah. And look, the realization is everyone's going to go pitch those businesses. And, oh God, you're going to get to 10 million. You should build your business to scale to 20 million. The reality is 95% of businesses are going to fit between that $0 and $10 million. Okay. Once you break that $1 to $2 million in gross revenue bracket, you are in the top 1% of earners in the United States. Okay. Yeah. If you get anywhere beyond that, you're going to be in the 0.1%.
And like, so almost 100% of the people that I work with, especially the ones that are looking to make a transition out of corporate into owning their own business. Mm-hmm. Yes, there's a financial component. Most of them don't want to go backwards, long term. They understand there may be a temporary step back from an income standpoint, but there's a huge lifestyle motivator for the vast majority of these people, right? And so to your point, if you've got a business doing 5-6 million a year in gross revenue, and you've got gross profit margins in the 1.5 to 2 million range, like chances are you're making good money, and your lifestyle, especially,
it's not just good. It's like in the top 0.1%. It's like in the top 0.01. Like if you're pulling,
you're making great money, but with a good lifestyle still too. Versus, if you're running a $30 million a year company, like there's probably a lot of stress, a lot of headache,
a lot more. It's a lot more difficult,
a lot more responsibility, and so your income is 0.01, top 0.01%, but that lifestyle piece may not be there as much. But here's kind of the last question I want to ask you, and then we'll wrap this up and let you get back to your summit. Because I imagine this is something that might hold some companies back from, like reaching out and working with you. Like if I'm a company, say I've been in business for 3 or 4 years, I've got, 10 employees on my team, and we've just kind of got a system in place already. And it's not a great system. We've kind of pieced it together. We're using spreadsheets, we're using Calendly, we're using, HubSpot, whatever the case is.
Sure.
I imagine sometimes people get stuck because they're like, man, I see where this would make all the sense in the world, but damn, it's going to be really inconvenient to have to kind of stop what we've been doing, move to this new system, get everyone trained on it, get everyone on board. I just know I'm guilty of this myself. A lot of business owners put things like this off because there will be a temporary disruption or a temporary inconvenience. So like, what would you say to any existing business owners that have that concern?
Look, I'd say there's growth in being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so transitioning whatever you're used to into something new, there's always going to be a little bit of uncomfort, but that's how you're going to unlock growth. The reality is that that's the long-term correct decision to make. And yeah, new things, sometimes tough for a while. But Housecall Pro makes it super easy to learn. Most of our businesses get up and running the next day or the following day. If you're an existing business and you're importing a bunch of data, it's about a week to get up. Everything we've done is built with Google Material UI design. What does that mean? You're probably like, what the heck is Roland talking about? It means you're probably using some sort of Google product. And so that little gear icon is going to behave like you think that gear icon is going to do. That little little burger item, you click that, it's going to fly out. Right? Like all of it's gonna be like, oh, it's gonna be strange or familiar. Oh, it kind of feels like Google Calendar. Oh, this is kind of like Gmail. And right. And so like it's very easy to use. And so, our oldest customer is 82 right now, 83. Awesome. And so I'm like, look, if he can do it, like you can do it. Stop making excuses. Like just excuses.
It's worth it. I mean, you're spot on. Growth is uncomfortable. Always is, always will be. But you're better off on the other side of it, So
That's right.
I mean, this was awesome. Lot of other topics I'm sure we could dive in, and maybe at some point we'll have you come back on the show in the future. I mean, it sounds like you guys are just, I mean, even since, I mean, it's only been a little over a year since we sold our business, and it sounds like Housecall Pro's got a lot more to offer now than it even did then. So especially with everything happening with AI, it'll be cool to see, where you guys are at in another year or two.
Happy to come on again, Wes. This was awesome being on your podcast. I'm grateful getting the chance to talk to your audience, and I look forward to it. If you're curious, if you think Housecall Pro might be a good fit, just go to housecallpro.com, sign up for a demo yourself. Or if you don't want to talk to anybody, go do a free trial. But I always tell people it's nice to see a house that's staged versus just seeing like the architectural diagram. So if you want to see a house that's staged, do yourself a demo. Take 30 minutes.
Do the demo, because then you can ask questions specific to
questions. That's right.
And someone can explain, how Housecall Pro would work specifically with your business. And
totally.
That's for sure the way to go. But yeah, man, we'll put a link to that in the show notes. Where could people connect with you or hear more from you if they wanted to?
Yeah, best thing is you can Google my name. All kinds of fun stuff shows up. If you want to text me, my phone number is 858-215-1512. Yeah, I'm a pretty easy guy to get a hold of, or shoot me a Facebook message.
Awesome. All right, we'll have all that in the show notes. Roland, thank you so much, man. Love what you guys have built with Housecall Pro, and look forward to seeing where you guys take it from here. But cheers to continued success, my man.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Wes. Pleasure being here. Take care, all.